minute, and we are going to get started with FEVO's forum today. Very excited for some of the conversations and outside of the box thinking that we are going to discuss. We have a great crowd joining us. So I see we're getting upwards and close to that 100 mark. So we'll give it a second here and then we will jump in. All right, I think it's a good time to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Very excited for today's FEVO forum as we present going further with FEVO and unlocking some new ways to sell in 2024. I think this is going to be a great conversation that hopefully sparks some additional action items coming out of our webinar today. So looking forward to speaking with our panelists and learning a little bit more as well. As we go through this process today, high level, it's great to see some individuals that are power users joining us on the webinar, but I also see some new users as well. Going back here quick, I just want to cover and have you all have a chance to review our mission. I think for those of you on the webinar today, maybe hearing for FEVO for the first time, let's just keep this really simple. We are truly a social checkout that is going to allow your fans to experience a lightning fast checkout, but it's really going to embody and actually bring your brands to life from the team side. And I think as we go through some of these examples, you're going to see just that. So without further ado, I am excited to have our panelists go through their brief introduction. I am going to kick it over to Matthew first. If you don't mind, Matthew, give us a brief introduction on yourself.
Yeah, how you doing, everybody? Good morning to those on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those on the East Coast. I'm Matt Fonseca. I'm over here at the Orange County Soccer Club in the USL Championship, second tier of professional soccer in the U.S. VP of Sales and Service. That actually just happened as of January of this year. But very excited. I've been with the organization kind of from the get-go in professional sports, account executive, worked my way up as an assistant director, then director, and now VP and leading the sales team here. Actually working closely with operations team, so know a lot of the back end. Very comfortable kind of going through some of the back end building process with y'all for some of the stuff here on FEVO. So a lot of operations kind of knowledge, but overall just really excited to lead the organization and set up some really fun events here with the fans, of course, like Beer Fest. You guys will hear about that one, but of course for a big season across the USL Championship on the West Coast. But I think next would be Neil, if I'm correct.
Good morning, good afternoon. Like he said, good morning on the West Coast, afternoon on the East Coast. Name is Neil Rohr, Director of Ticket Operations at the University of Louisville. I've been there for going on 13 years now. So it'll be 13 years this July. I actually got my start in minor league baseball. I worked for the Louisville Bats right out of college from 2008 to 2010. Switched over to college athletics right after that in 2011. I handle a lot of things ticket operationally for women's basketball, football, men's basketball, and then I do basically everything FEVO for our athletic department. So help out with group sales, and then a lot of these outside the box thinking offers that we're going to go over here today. I handle basically all of that for our department as well.
Thanks, Neil. Adam, I'll have you go next.
Yeah, hey everyone, and first off, thank you, Tara, for having me here today. I'm Adam Dantus. I'm the Senior Manager of Ticket Sales for the Washington Nationals. I went to the University of Maryland, so go Terps if we have any Terps on the call. I've been fortunate enough to be with the Nats for the last 10 years. Initially as an account executive, where I got pretty well acquainted with FEVO, use that a lot for a lot of our offers. And then for the past 3 years, I transitioned into management. So now I lead a fantastic team of 13 AEs. They do everything from groups, season tickets, suites, special ticket events. So pretty excited to be here today. Look forward to sharing our best practices and just having a great discussion with y'all.
Thanks, Adam. Matthew, huge shout out on the promotion as well. That's awesome. Congratulations and well deserved. For those of you I haven't had a chance to meet, my name is Kara Leese. I am SVP on our partner success side here at FEVO. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia, and oversee a good amount of our Southeast partners. So most of my background did come from the MBA space, but it's been a fantastic journey being able to work with a lot of teams outside of the MBA space here at FEVO. As we get started today, really before we jump into the agenda, I think something that's really, really key right now to note for a lot of you that have either been with FEVO for multiple years, or maybe you're just joining the FEVO family now, we are really evolving our product. And I think it's a really exciting time for you all to be on this journey with us. And one thing I really want to cover before we go into the really examples for today is some of you really might have this perception or understand FEVO as truly just a group sales solution. I am going to really challenge everyone on the webinar today to think of some new ways that your organization can utilize FEVO. And what I mean by that is we are expanding the segments and inventory that we can support. So today you're going to hear a lot about outside of the box campaigns or activations that could really spark new revenue streams. We're supporting premium. We're helping teams with their deposit campaigns, ancillary items like parking, food and beverage, etc. So excited for you all to jot some notes down, take some creative ideas from the gentleman joining me on this panel. And we are going to jump into the real world examples. As we go through the webinar today, and thank you so much, just a reminder, you can drop any questions that you might have in the chat. We'll be sure to address those throughout. Otherwise, we do have a session at the very end of our webinar to cover Q&A as well. All right, so we're going to start with real world examples. We're going to then jump into some season member initiatives, and most importantly, Q&A for any questions that you all might have. All right, so for the entire group, before we jump in specifically to Matthew's example and use case of Beer Fest, I think I want to open this question up to the three of you because it's really important for those listeners how they're having their conversations internally. For each of you, when you were planning the offers that we're going to represent today, when did that planning period start? And Matthew, I'm going to have you start and really kick that off, but then I'm going to tee up Adam and Neil. Would love to have you kind of explain when those conversations started happening for these types of offers.
Yeah, this has kind of become one of our key, I'd say, events and matches throughout the year. It started kind of right from the get-go. The first year, we're the only team representing Orange County. It's a regional organization versus it being, in Atlanta or where there being a specific city. So there are a lot of individuals across Orange County, a lot of soccer fans too. But when we really kind of kick things off, we wanted to make sure to really cater to a wider audience. So as the season started, I think this was early in 2017, we really looked into seeing how we can build on events. Knowing that there are a lot of fans in soccer space, but there's even more people that are into, beer drinking, hanging out with friends, coming out for a new event, especially in the backyard, as there are a lot of people now have to commute to LA for a lot of their entertainment needs. So we really looked into something new, and it started honestly in the beginning of the year, and we knew that we would take time to build relationships with different brew partners. So we did actually initially link up with a big beer kind of events company, and that kind of really helped kind of kick things into a faster motion. But that was in the beginning of the season. I'm sure we would have loved having it back, in the off season, just to kind of really cater to it. But now as we're going year after year, a lot of the planning for these events kind of goes, through the season, but especially in the off season, where you're working with your operations team, with your partnerships team, with your, stadium staff and sales team. And then honestly, just looking how to build that all together as an organization to work into a new event. So I think we're really keying into it. Initially, it was like 2 beer fests, then 3. This year we have 5, just because it's become such a fun event and they sell out. So once you do look strategically across the organization, you can find new synergies and new opportunities, and the fans love it. So, really kind of catering into that too.
Great. And Adam, your season is about to get started, but for a lot of your outside of the box campaigns, when were those conversations starting to happen internally?
Yeah, absolutely. We're about 3-4 weeks away from opening day, and really the planning starts right when the season ends. So our season ended late September, and we got to the drawing board. We worked very closely with our marketing and promotions team. Slotting in, we have over 70 special ticket events and marketing events. So it's, there's something, at least one event going on, if not multiple, every single game. We have a good foundation, and we're looking at what we did previous years. If there's a celebration or a heritage month, we're going to try to, slot our events in there. But yeah, I mean, we'll take the first 2 months of the off season, pretty much put together the schedule, and then it's go time from there.
Great. And Neil, for you, obviously your college sports coming up in spring sports right now. How about for you all? When does your planning process really take place?
Yeah, so it usually our planning process is months in advance of the season, and especially with like a kind of like the season ticket member benefits things that we've used for FEVO, which we'll go over here in a few minutes. We've kind of in the last year to 2 years kind of revamped like our season ticket member experience. So we used to call them season ticket holders, and it was basically here's your tickets. You might get a few priority points, and that was it. So we've really focused on the last 2 years of making it more of a membership and benefits, and it's not just going to a game. How do we enhance the value of what you're getting? And so with the events like we're going to go over, we've done like catches on the field, movie nights, watch parties. We just launched another benefit yesterday, coming around our spring game. That's called it's like a chalk talk, like a spring preview tailgate with our coaching staff. That's on FEVO now, for our season ticket members to get tickets. But I mean, it's a collaborative effort between operations, sales, our development office, marketing, everybody. And it's, like I said, months and months in advance of the season.
Great. Appreciate that. So Matthew, let's dive into the Beer Fest, because I think you shared a little bit, right, of like this partnership you were working with a specific group. Talk to us, like, how did this truly come to fruition? What was the partnership and conversations that really sparked this event to take place?
Yeah, I think it was us growing into really recognizing that, it's kind of mirroring a lot of minor league baseball, where it's not just about the game itself. It's more about the ancillary opportunities that you can create within the stadium. Mm-hmm. So we understood that, and we really wanted to grow into that. Soccer and beer, and sports in general, right, go together pretty well. And we're looking at strategic partners that can help us get in touch with, a good number of craft breweries at, a fast clip. So that was a terrific partnership. They introduced us to different organizations across Southern California, and whether it's IPA or every kind of beer, our fans had something to look forward to. And then and with regards to that, yeah, it was a good one to start things off. It kind of laid the foundation, and we were able to kind of take it from there. And now it's an internal event only. So we work with our productions team, and we get in touch, kind of like the same way when you're building renewals with season tickets, it's renewals for partners for this event. So it's helped kind of lay that foundation where we're getting in touch with different organizations, craft breweries, and in turn can be partners throughout the year.
Right.
And yeah, for us, kind of just growing within that space, especially recognizing that we actually pour through a nonprofit. So for these organizations, it's kind of a cool donation opportunity as well, which I think we can get into as well.
Great. So for those of you on the webinar, you might see some of the graphic collateral here on the right. Matthew, could you kind of share what all was included in this event? Like break down what all the options were, if you could. That would be very helpful.
Sure. So everything across here, it's a ticket to this event, which starts for VIP. It starts 4 hours before the match itself starts. So let's say a 4 p.m. start launch for this event for VIP. We've got 5 p.m. for standard. The gates themselves open up at 6, and kickoff starts at 7. So it's a real kind of commitment for some folks, but honestly, Beer Fest, they're pretty much in line with that. So we have different kind of levels, price codes within the event. We've got a designated driver where they're of course driving, but they have access to that beer garden space with friends, and it comes with a complimentary drink, and it comes with a ticket. VIP, like I mentioned, they've got the 3 hours of drinking or 4 hours of drinking because it goes through 8 p.m. and then standard has 3 hours. These are all events within them, so you can get a ticket to the match and a ticket to the event for one price, or like Neil was mentioning, we do like to cater to our season tickets, and this is an add-on event for them, so it's at a discount. they get pre-sale and they get discounted pricing throughout the campaign. So there's different price codes that we can like really leverage into it. So when our fans are going into this multi-game offer on our site, they're seeing, the different matches. We have 5 of them this year. First one's coming up on March 30th. So then within that multi-game offer, they can look at the different kind of price levels and make their selections accordingly. So that's kind of what's catered into it. As you guys can see, it's 50 beers. We've got seltzers in there as well. And we really kind of work with craft breweries, about 25 across the OC in Southern California, where we invite them into the stadium. They can pour for our fans in a specific beer garden area that has like about 1,000, 1,200 capacity. And yeah, it's a really fun one. Another element kind of behind the scenes is we use a nonprofit to pour. So these breweries do have the opportunity to donate their beer, and that would go back to this nonprofit. And for us on the revenue side, it's us paying for less beer for the event. So it's kind of a, mutually beneficial opportunity. I know and fully aware that not many organizations and teams can find that same alignment, but for those, it does, even if it's 5 beers or, 10 breweries, whatever you guys can work into, it helps build strategic partnerships with those breweries where maybe they're becoming hospitality partners, featuring their beer at the stadium, setting up watch parties and viewing parties for away games for your fans. And, on top of that, building and buying season tickets and group hospitality as well. So very, very beneficial, and it opens up the opportunity for conversations across the board. And then maybe there's a new nonprofit pouring year after year, whoever's got the ABC.
That's great. The nonprofit element is huge. And obviously it's scaling up to 5 is a huge success, to the testament to what you guys are doing. I know some teams that I work with, right? Like there's the logistical components that come with, either a beer fest or some type of alcoholic beverage. Just curious if your team is doing anything to either check off on FEVO that they are 21 and above, or is that mostly taken on site? If you could talk through that, I think it would be helpful for logistics.
Yeah, we mentioned, this is a 21 plus event. Part of the event itself and ingress is getting ID checks, because you just have to do it too. But we do have a litany, or not litany, just a good range of qualifying questions, mandatory questions that we put into it. With any kind of event like this, they will receive an email from Ticketmaster, that's our partner, recognizing that, they got tickets for the match. Sometimes that confuses the guest. So we turn those off, and we just have messaging direct from ourselves and FEVO after the purchase process kind of begins from there. But as far as checking for NIDs, it's pretty much on site. You kind of have to do that. And we're, as far as who can come into the space, also 21 plus, and that's why that DD component kind of works out for some other folks too.
Great. So for you all, as you were having these internal conversations, can you share, why was FEVO the right solution to support an event like this for you?
Yeah, it's a great one. It gave us a good opportunity to grow our fan base out of, a lot of family buyers, a lot of group buyers that are teams, youth sports, some businesses. It helped us grow into like a younger, I'd say more experiential driven segment. And that segment is very mobile friendly, like we can all imagine. So it helped make that purchase process a lot smoother than it would on Ticketmaster. It was very clunky on that kind of platform itself. But through FEVO, not only are you able to buy quickly, share with friends, we do see the social selling element, kind of work to fruition here, where they're making their group of friends kind of grow and chatting with each other. So we do have multiple buyers, some that, from one purchase turns into 18 people coming out together from one individualized link after the fact. So it really kind of worked within that segment, helped us grow into not only a younger audience, but into different regions across OC that are more heavily attuned to like beer drinking and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's created its own segment from our sales structure, and now an even bigger segment from, mini plan games, as this can be its own mini plan for 5 games. And then, different segments to get in touch with throughout the year.
Great. So Matthew, that leads me into my next question, right? Like you're tapping into either maybe a newer demographic or identifying newer areas. Talk to us a little bit about your marketing strategy. What was the approach for that with this event specifically?
Yeah, our Beer Fest buyers are kind of turning into almost, I'd say, like a season ticket member kind of element, where, as soon as we launch the event, we're getting in touch with them first. And as soon as we do progress, early bird messaging is a big thing for us. Creating early bird opportunities where maybe we want to upsell them into VIP for an additional hour, and finding the right leverage there. I would say the communication, it's on social. Fans are always asking, when's Beer Fest? What's the date for that? it's almost, within our promo calendar, we have them really laid out and spread out there as well, because our fans are always looking forward to seeing, when these events are.
Yeah.
So it really kind of mirrors almost like a promo schedule release, because it's embedded within that. And with regards to how we message it throughout the year, as soon as one ends, we have a bunch of terrific collateral to use, and especially if they usually sell out. So we can really key into sellout messaging earlier and incentivizing fans not only to buy early on, but buy these multi-packs as well, because they can buy all 5 out in one opportunity in one go.
Right.
So it's a good opportunity there.
So you talked a little bit about, how it's laid out, but let's talk about the operational side. Because having operational side pieces in regards to you're getting a ticket to the game, but a ticket to this, how are you guys setting that up in the ticket system, if you don't mind sharing with the larger group?
Yep, easy. So for those individuals that are not part of our season ticket membership family, anything like that, where this is just an individualized event, it's a double scan. So it'll be an opportunity for they get one scan at the main entrance and one scan internally. So we have I think operations, you just need to make sure you have enough scanners to be able to accommodate.
Yeah.
One for the internal beer garden and one for the main entrance gate.
Mhm.
The second thing is as far as for season ticket holders, let's say I have a seat in a reserve section and I add on this beer fest opportunity, we're sending them know before you goes across the way. So this is
Okay.
your ticket for the match. Get your second ticket ready on your mobile wallet for beer fest for your internal scan. So just really laying into communications ahead of the fact, so they're not, waiting in line. Because believe me, if we say 4 p.m., they want to have a beer in their hand by 4:05 or 4:02. So whatever we can do to kind of make that process run smoother for us, it's usually internal communication to fans and staff ahead of time, so they have everything laid out. And as far as, I would say just getting the scanning ready, making it a double scan opportunity. And then for add-on tickets, if they try to go with their season ticket to the beer garden, it won't scan, it won't work, as it's
Okay.
gated for that Spearfest opportunity.
Great. So I'm going to ask you a question from Walker that came in the chat before my last question, Matthew. The question was, is there much marketing from the breweries or from the partners that you worked with for this initiative?
Thank you, Walker. That's a great one. Yes. So let's say for each of the 25 breweries, we do put together pretty much a FEVO link for them as well. So as you can imagine, the big fans of that brewery, they have got their own mailing list. They've got fans that are just like us. Our fans are waiting for the schedule, they're, fans and their customers are waiting for a new beer drop. So they've already got messaging going out. And so what we like to do is, especially for those that have a larger social media following, where they can post, they can put a story up, and then we'd have a specific FEVO link just for their buyers. So we can see out of those 25 breweries, who's, bringing in the most fans. And for us, it gives us a great opportunity to leverage that into partnership conversations, a great opportunity to leverage that into, hey, maybe there's, maybe this is an underlying segment within the OC that we can really reach out to with our street team. Let's look into some schools in the area that maybe have gone dormant for a bit. Maybe they've been reawakened, and just using this as a leverage tool and a communication tool to some new groups and new areas for sure. So great question, Rocker. And then we also can incentivize a lot of breweries, or some of the great ones have nonprofit so that they work with as well. So some of them, instead of getting a portion of proceeds back to the brewery, they can align those with like a nonprofit of their choice, or maybe it's something that they want to contribute to. So it's a real giving opportunity that really bakes into that as well.
Great. Thanks, Matthew. Last question before we transition over to Adam is, for this event specifically, how are you tracking the success of this program?
Easiest way to say it is how fast we can get to sell out. But I would say, just looking back year after year, the buying process for our fans is pretty slow at the beginning of the year, and it really ramps up towards the end. So for us, it's how do we get to, early bird messaging? How do we get to, sellouts within different segments? How do we make sure to really key into add-ons opportunities for our season ticket holders? What can we really do so that we don't ultimately have to go into other. In the past, we've done Groupon for this as well. In the past, we've done other kind of partners, and it makes the on-site day of experience a little bit lacking. But what we really want to do is try to just look at internal markers to see how we're tracking and the success we had in years past. Okay, for that sellout, we were this sales at this date, and see how we track against that. but initially and as a whole, it's basically looking to see, yeah, of course, sales, but how the fan experience is as well. So, what are the beers like? Was there a good survey? Did the fans want this or that? So we do surveys after the fact as well to see how we can improve for the next one. And that ultimately helps us get to a faster clip of sales and redemptions too.
It's awesome. Thanks so much, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, Adam, excited to dive into some of your initiatives there with the Nats. So first and foremost, we're really going to highlight a little bit of the Pups in the Park initiative. I know we were chatting about it earlier before we jumped on with the rest of the group, but would love to start actually with this first. So with a full season of games, if you could shed a little bit more light on the planning and how you are actually working with internal departments to slot those larger initiatives like Pups in the Park against other maybe theme night events throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned earlier in the call, we have over 70 events that largely our department is responsible for. So we have probably one of the largest college day programs in the country. This year, we have 22 different schools that we're working with, mainly local schools, but we'll go, as far as we do a Syracuse Day, which is pretty successful here. We're going down into like FSU, so we're all over the place. Last year, we worked with Baylor. We also have one of the largest Pride Days, so night out. It's the longest running in Major League Baseball. So we'll work very closely with our events team, our marketing team, corporate partnerships, just to see where we can slot them in. We tend to get, kind of on the bottom as far as priority, but it's a big puzzle. So we probably put this all together in November, December, put together a good game plan. And then we'll go from there. But this is like Matthew was saying, tickets tend to really ramp up when we're a few weeks out from the event, just making sure all of our anchor groups, all of our nonprofits that are involved with it are really, on board, know when the dates is and really helping us promote it.
And for your Pups in the Park, how many of those games throughout the 70 in your season will be Pups in the Park?
Yeah, so we've expanded the program. Most years we had 5. For the last 2 years, we ramped that up to 6. So it's about one a month. We take August off just because it's really hot here in DC. But we'll have 2 here in April. Actually, Pups is our first special ticket event on April 5th. So we're just we're under a month away. We kind of joke, but not really. The Pups parades. We'll do a parade for at least one of the games. It's pretty easy. You have the Pups on the field. They're walking around. It's a lot easier than say our Scout Day parades or our youth baseball when kids are just they're wanting to run onto the grass in the field. So it's pretty it's pretty straightforward. It's a good day of event.
Less security for dogs versus kids, right?
For sure.
Awesome. Adam, with this setup of Pups in the Park, I think there's quite a few listeners that we have on the webinar that are in similar scenarios where being able to do an adult ticket versus a dog ticket. So do you mind sharing the operational setup side of the new feature, the ratio feature that you're using, and how are you all using that for this event?
For sure, yeah. And this year we're really excited to run all of our Pups in the Park ticket sales through FEVO. We've been talking with FEVO for a couple of years now. We're really excited that the feature is ready to go. We're already off to a really great start with ticket sales year over year. But essentially we're using a ratio where it pretty much doesn't allow anyone to scam the system. Technically, if you purchase a dog ticket, they are getting a seat in the ballpark. So the dog tickets are a donation to the Human Rescue Alliance, which is priced a lot cheaper than a full price adult ticket. So when a dog owner, goes to check out their tickets, they select a dog ticket, it's going to automatically prompt them to select a human ticket, which is that 1-to-1 ratio. So yeah, we're really excited that FEVO now has that feature, and we're trending towards a sell for those first 2 April games.
That's great. For those of you joining, I want to specifically reference FEVO Enterprise. Our new platform is going to allow the ratio feature. So if you do have any theme nights similar to Pups in the Park that you're looking to actually have a ratio similar to what Adam noted, feel free to reach out to your success rep. But I think that's really important and exciting as far as making it easier for the ticket versus, again, the dog component. So let's transition a little bit, Adam, as well, to the marketing side. I know coming from the group space initially as well, there's some initiatives that maybe marketing doesn't support, or there's specific rules on, okay, when is marketing going to support these? You all have a high goal as well as a lot of games to actually get out there with themes. How are you working alongside with your marketing department to show like which ones will have marketing support versus just your sales team hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah, we work very closely hand in hand with our marketing and events team to prioritize which special ticket events are going to receive more promotion, more backing. We developed a tiered system, 1 through 5. So the tiered 1 is going to get full marketing support. There's budgets in place with that. So we'll identify our top events. Those will include our heritage days, our night out, Grateful Dead, Ladies Night, Pups. So those are all going to get additional marketing support, and that includes increase in market promotion on our scoreboard. We'll run pregame ads also on the scoreboard, TV and radio, dedicated emails, and along with dedicated social campaigns.
Awesome. So one thing I also want to ask, because you noted this earlier, and I think there's a good amount of people listening that all would love to have a successful college program. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys last year did like a cool fleece, right? Or there was like some type of merchandise element tied with your college nights. Can you talk to us how you've been successful actually building those college night up? Because I think a lot of our partners do them, but actually like getting those off the ground. Would love to hit on that as well, just while you noted it.
Yeah, definitely. So we definitely noticed the wearables move more tickets. We also did a bobblehead one year of our mascot. It had the school logo, school colors, and it also played the school fight song. Last year we had a lot of success. We did quarter zips in the school colors with it was the Nationals logo on the chest and the school logo on the sleeve. This year, we're really excited. We're doing jerseys. They'll have the school logo on the sleeve, but there'll be some schools that will sell thousands of tickets. They'll have other schools that sell a few hundred. It's not necessarily the distance from Nationals Park or even the size of the school. It's how many different people within the school, if athletics is involved, if they're pushing that game,
okay.
And also the local alumni clubs. If they're getting the word out to the local alumni base. It's mainly the alumni that are coming out and supporting it more so than current students. But yeah, we're just making sure that we're on top of all of our anchor groups, making sure that we put together almost a marketing plan. And this day here's an email that we've written, here's a social post that we've come up with, and making sure that they're staying on track with that plan. To grow the event and make the event as successful as it can be.
Great. Thank you, Adam, for answering that. So we do have a question that just got posted from Katie in the chat. And just for clarification for the group, are you using the ratio 1-to-1, 1 adult to get 1 dog, or what is the exact ratio that you're using for the Pups in the Park?
Yeah, good question. Currently, we're using the 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if say, Katie, you have 2 dogs and it's just you coming out to the game, the system will only allow you to purchase 1 dog per dog owner. But we've put instruction on the website to call the rep, and they can easily just add that additional dog ticket if they need to relocate the seats. It's a pretty easy fast pass ticket exchange. But for now, it is 1-for-1 ratio.
Great. Thank you, Adam. So lastly, similar to what I ended on with Matthew, for you all at the end of the season, like how are you measuring success of these Pups in the Park nights or any of your theme nights? And then out of curiosity, are you retargeting any of these large theme night buyers? That would be my last two questions. I want to just layer in.
Yeah, so basically we're setting off by putting together a ticket goal and also a revenue goal, and we work closely with our analytics team to come up with that number. We're putting together marketing plans, one-sheeters for each event to help the rep get there. We're pulling past buyer lists, going back 5-6 years. We're sending individual emails to those buyers. We're having our reps, do a lot of market research, coming up with our anchor groups, to try to help, have them promote it on their end socially. And then it's all about staying on top of their anchor groups, making sure that they're on board, they're promoting it. It's all about, growth and consistently, having engagement with them.
Okay, great. Fantastic. I do want to address another question that got dropped in the Q&A. So it's in regards to the ratio tool, but essentially there is a dance showcase that actually receives one complimentary ticket and a parent ticket. I can absolutely drop additional details, but I'd actually recommend we have a great feature called our discount code, which can be utilized and actually take care of one free ticket as well as additional tickets being purchased. So we'll make sure to drop some additional questions there as well. Fantastic. Thanks, Adam. Neil, transitioning over to University of Louisville, really looking forward to getting your take on this component. So at a high level, we are going to dive into a high school takeover event that Neil has been running point on. Neil, can you share with the group and tell us a little bit more about this high school takeover event that you host?
Yeah, so basically, St. X and Trinity are two Catholic high schools here in Louisville. They are big rivals, and usually their football teams are always number 1 and number 2 in the state. They've probably won, between the two of them, they've combined for probably 18 of the last 20 state titles, like huge football schools. And so when they play each other, obviously there's a lot of interest in that game. And so they need a space that's bigger than their normal high school field. So we've partnered with them for years now. And then within the last 2 years, they've come to us and basically they wanted to do digital tickets. That's fine. It's great. Because in the past, it's been, if you want to go to the game, you have to either drive yourself to one of those high schools and purchase your ticket at the school, or you come to the game and you stand in a long line to get your paper ticket and then you go on it. And so they're like, we want to get more into the digital age, and we've been doing digital tickets at the University of Louisville now for, several years. And we're like, all right, we'll definitely help you out. With it not being our event, we didn't really want to, put all of our effort, because it's in the middle of our football season. We had volleyball on Friday nights. We're a staff of 4 and we've got some interns. And so it's like, it's not our event. We don't really want to be fully hands-on with this. Like, we want you guys to take ownership, but we'll definitely help, get this thing mobile. So within the last 2 years, FEVO was the solution for that. So basically what we did, created one ticket link for St. X. They got one side of the field with their inventory, and one ticket link through FEVO for Trinity. They got their inventory on their side of the field, and I sent them to both schools for them to blast out to whoever. And it's actually worked fantastic. I think last year we sold close to 20,000. This year we sold 17,000. And in the past, when it was, just getting your paper ticket, the numbers weren't even close to that. So it's definitely boosted the attendance for the game. It's made it easier for them. It's made it easier for us. Like, when you want to come, we put a QR code on our ticket windows. We're not even there on site. We just put a QR code. Fans will come up, scan the QR code, takes them to FEVO. They buy it. It's a quick, instant checkout. They get their ticket, and then they go right on it. So it's been absolutely fantastic the last 2 years doing it this way.
Great. You've noted on a couple key items, right? The QR code in so many elements. I know a lot of us saw that during COVID, but it has truly carried on, and great ways to make that more transactional. Additionally, I love hearing the numbers, right? Old school mentality of the paper format, and really how digital and social sharing can help expand those numbers is fantastic. Now, I know, Neil, this sounds like it's been a relationship that's been in place for some time. But I have a feeling some people listening, right, whether it's high schools or colleges that are right around the area, there is an opportunity to build a relationship with one of those schools. Do you have any insight, even if you weren't a part of first getting the group signed up, like how have you continued to maintain that relationship with the schools so that they keep coming back year after year?
Yeah, it's we meet with them, every year we have a meeting. It's like what went well last year, what didn't go well,
Okay.
So just being in constant communication with them. They're great. Their athletic directors are both fantastic to work with. And when we presented the idea of we originally last year we did the FEVO platform. This
Mhm.
year we actually put it on Enterprise where they can, see this, basically go in and pick their seat. And they absolutely loved that. We did the 2 separate links, which they loved. So with them not being familiar with digital ticketing and things like that, just relying on our expertise and our suggestions has been great for them, and just kind of partnering that way. But like you said, it can work for anything. It doesn't have to be football. It can be soccer. It can be just any other sport. We use our facilities for state baseball tournaments, state softball tournaments. This just happens to be the biggest one that we do is this game, but it can be used for multiple other sports other than just football.
Great. Glad you know that, because I know a lot of our baseball partners are getting ready to go in season, but just seeing some of those high schools or maybe colleges around the area that can utilize the ballpark is a great asset. Let's talk a little bit about game day execution. How does that work for you all when it is this large event, attendance wise, but also as far as ticket scanning, et cetera? Can you highlight just a couple elements on how you handle it day of game?
Yeah. So a lot of we bring the CSC staff for the ticket scanning. I control the inventory. So basically and on the back end, I'll put out the inventory for each side for those 2 specific links. Like I said, on site on a game day, like we weren't even there. Like we just put the QR codes on the ticket windows. If you're a Trinity fan, you scan the QR code for Trinity. If you're a St. X fan, you scan the QR code for St. X. You pick your seat. FEVO sends you the quick checkout. The confirmation will take you right to where you need to pull up your ticket, and the whole process takes less than just a couple minutes, like 2 minutes to get into the game. We had no issues. Nobody called me at the game like, oh my gosh, this went wrong. So it was quick and easy. They loved it. They're looking forward to doing it again. I think the next added component, which we didn't do this year, which I think what we'll do next year, is to do an add-on with parking. We went mobile with parking for football for us at the University of Louisville this past year. And so I think next year that'll even enhance the fan experience and make it easier for the high school fans to just buy your parking in advance, scan it, get in. Most of them already had their tickets, but if you need to go, like I said, scan the QR code and you're in within minutes.
Great. So we did have an attendee ask a question. Neil, are there any compliance issues with having a high school playing on your field?
There's not, no. Compliance offices, they've been doing it, like I said, for years. Compliance offices has had no issues with it. We're not providing free tickets to any, prospective student athletes. Everybody is buying. So there's really, on our end, there was no compliance issues.
Great. All right, let's look at more of like the data collection, right? You're getting these really high volume numbers for a non-Louisville game. How are you using that to your advantage when it comes to prospecting or engaging buyers for potential Louisville events?
Yeah, so we obviously, when you buy through FEVO, we collect that data. It goes into our Artix database, so we know who's bought the ticket for the event. We can cross-check that if they've already have season tickets. A lot of these people are maybe already Louisville fans and they have season tickets already. So we can kind of weed those out. But then those that don't have season tickets, or maybe it's the first time that they've even bought a ticket and been to our stadium, we have that data that can then go to our sales office. They can say, hey, we saw you came out to the St. X Trinity game. How was your experience? What did you like about the stadium? What didn't you like? Have you thought about coming to a Louisville game? How were your seats? We could see where they sat. If they sat in the club space, like one of our premium areas, did you enjoy it? How can we get you out to a Louisville game and sell them on our product? So we do have that data. We do use that data. On the top of my head, I don't know the conversion rates, but we have put that to our advantage.
Very helpful. So I'm going to transition as well, because I think, Neil, you did some very creative, even season ticket member initiatives. So let's dive into thinking outside of the box as it relates to season ticket holders and some other events. For you all being able to really cater to your season ticket holders and offer them stadium tours or movie nights, can you shed a little bit more light on how that came about and what the process was?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we've kind of revamped the season ticket member experience in the last couple of years with doing more experiences and more cool things for them instead of just here's your tickets and you just go to the game. So we've done a movie night. We did a catch on the field. We did an away game watch party where we had over 2,900 people attend. Like I said, we just put out one yesterday for a spring preview with our coaching staff, like a spring tailgate around the spring game for season ticket members. But with the reason we chose basically to go the FEVO route on this was, like in our system, we've got multiple ticketed events that just kind of bog up the system and all that. So now with FEVO Enterprise, you can basically build these events offline-ish, I guess would be the term, to where you don't have to build this in your ticket system. It's quick setup. It takes 2 minutes to set it up. We discount code it by their account numbers, so not just the general public can access these offers. We discount code it to where they have to put in their account number, and then FEVO provides basically the ticket in a QR code form, and you can scan these tickets just based on the FEVO app. So it's quick, easy. It's not taking up a bunch of space in your database because it's not something that needs to be a ticketed event. So we've done that. We did it with tailgates, where we did out-of-town tailgates for our ACC championship football game. We had a tailgate in Atlanta when we played Georgia Tech, and another one in Indianapolis when we played IU, and we sold all of them out. The alumni office who helped, we worked with to put these on, were the ones checking in people, and they were like, this is absolutely amazing, because they just scan a QR code. You can even check them in digitally. Before they were sitting there with pen and paper and scratching off names. And so like the new platform with Enterprise has just been absolutely fantastic for these type of events.
So let's dive into that a little bit more. I think first and foremost as well, and you've heard this between Adam, Matthew, and Neil, when it comes to season ticket holders, I think that's a space that there's areas of opportunity for additional revenue or enhancements. And what I mean by that is, again, Matthew and Adam, whether it's Matthew, like the Beer Fest being sold to season ticket holders at a cost, an additional cost, that's additional revenue. Or for Neil, and correct me if I'm wrong, the stadium tours and the movie night, those came at zero cost, but that was an enhancement to their membership, correct?
Correct. So yeah, so like the tours and like the season ticket member benefits were all at no cost. They basically can claim one and then bring a guest. And then the tailgates, they were for purchase, and we ended up selling those out too.
Great. And for those of you that might not be familiar or you're hearing this for the first time, what Neil is alluding to on the tailgates, this is also something that we started to do a lot for scoreboard announcements for people to purchase, is non-integrated FEVO. So even through FEVO Enterprise, you can actually build an offer non-integrated. So outside of your ticketing system, where this can be helpful, to Neil's point, is we have a check-in app. So being able to potentially take off some of those resources from your ticket ops, but also instead of a form stack or, an Eventbrite system, it can all have the look and feel of FEVO and collect that data on the back end. So again, connect with your success team member to go through some of those pieces as well. Matthew, I want to hit on, we're talking about high-level watch parties and a little bit of season ticket holders in that component. Can you talk about what you all are doing for watch parties and utilizing FEVO for?
Yeah, I'll make this one quick. I know we're kind of running against it. Yeah, so the watch parties that we had initially talked about, there's a lot going on within international soccer that we like to, cater events around. Men's World Cup, Women's World Cup, this year has the Copa America. So all these are really fun events that we can go out of stadium to and watch, if there's a really big gathering already of individuals, we can invite our fans to join us. We'll have a street team there. We'll have, our mascot, maybe a couple players, where we can do some meet and greets and really cater into that event. We can also do it inside the stadium. We've done one before where it's a, a free RSVP event where they're RSVPing, so helping out with us for forecasting, but then a lot of those individuals turn into a new segment to reach out to within this kind of let's say like international soccer fan segment. So those are great. And then with regards to our individual, like during the season viewing parties, same kind of thing. I think that Neil mentioned we can give, additional benefit to season ticket holders that come, but it can be open to anybody across the spectrum from our fans. And whether it's at the stadium, we're doing a big watch party, or if it's a viewing party at a local brewery, we can really invite fans, have the RSVP link sent out to them through FEVO. As a lot of those buyers, let's say it's a free event, but a lot of those individuals that come through FEVO for that viewing party, they will most likely turn into our Beer Fest buyers. So it's kind of good to keep them just integrated and, knowledgeable about the system. Nothing for them to really kind of worry about as they move through the year in our different segments. A lot of our packages, whether it's event driven or flex pack, multi-game pack, is now featured through FEVO. So it all talks and it all looks the same in to our fans as well. So really kind of taking them along the fan pathway. And this is one of the big kind of entry ways for a lot of new fans with us. Watch parties for big events.
Matthew, I want you to close us out on this slide as well, because as we start to transition into spring, summer, camp registration was something you had a lot of success with, as well as open tryouts. Can you provide a description of what those two initiatives are for you?
Yeah, being in the second division of professional soccer, everybody likes a great kind of, I forget what movie it was with Mark Wahlberg, but a good story about a local community player making it to the first team. So we do host open tryouts year after year. It's through a FEVO platform. We give through our mandatory question fields, all the, pertinent questions. What position do you play? All that kind of fun stuff. Where's the top level organization you played with? And it gives fans and players, everybody thinks they've got a year or two in them, even if they're 30 plus. But we've also found some great success stories through there with actually every year we have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 fans or guests that we actually invite back to training camp because they've impressed. And some of those stayed on with us and played with our second team. So it's a really cool one. That's our open tryout. It's a paid event and it's registration event. And, once it's maxed out, it's maxed out. And we've had some great success there in the off season. The other one with camps, we work with partners, whether it's abroad. We've got some great international partners in Scotland and in Netherlands. They'll come here and they'll host pretty much like co-branded community camps for kids. So we'll sell those out to local families. It'll come with a ticket to a match, of course. It'll be paid with that registration. And whether it's one day or a week-long event, we can build multiple price levels on age. So that way, and we don't need to really bog down the ticketing system. We can have with one multi game offer, we can do price codes for ages and we can do qualified questions. And then all those really kind of go back into a new segment. We can target them for, season tickets, flex packs, all the fun stuff that we've got here for our fans. Another entryway in that fan segment. But both those are through FEVO. We've seen some great success. It's as far as the purchase process, very, very simple. Families can be on site, buy it right through their phone and have their kid walk into the field that same day if they choose. So really fast, really simple, and somewhere that we see year after year growth, especially through FEVO.
Great. So before we open it up for Q&A, want to highlight some key takeaways. And I think I'd really like to ask the three of you if anything comes to mind. Each of you have come up with successful, either non-traditional or outside of the box initiatives that have been very successful. Are there any new trends that you're watching or kind of new opportunities that you're internally considering that you want to share with the larger group?
Yeah, we've seen it, especially in Major League Baseball this time of year. Teams are doing online suite flash sales. So we reached out to a lot of teams just to see what's working for them, and we're actually running one right now. This is our second one. We had a lot of success with the first one, selling over 30 suites in a short amount of time. We've seen a lot of teams in Costco. I think we got a little bit of a late jump on that, but I think this is year 2 or 3 that we've seen a lot of success in there. I know teams are having success with bounce back offers, going back to group buyers, whether it be the group leader or an attending patron. Kind of setting up a one-stop shop for group buyers to go to either purchase additional group tickets, single game tickets, or even place a deposit for some type of season ticket package.
That's great. Thanks, Adam. Really good takeaways. Matthew or Neil, anything trend-wise that you all are monitoring or looking to launch?
We've talked about this in the past, and we've seen some success with other teams in professional and in college ranks. But we've talked about putting single game suite sales online. I think the United Center was one of the big ones that we've seen through FEVO that have had a lot of success. But to Adam's point, I think he mentioned that too. But like the suite sales, and then also we've done some research. Within the last month, we keep always researching what other schools and professional and in college, how they're enhancing their season ticket members benefits as well. So we're researching constantly, what can we do better? What new and innovative things can we provide them? So we're always looking for things like that.
Awesome. Great.
Just a quick one. I think hitting on what the two gentlemen are mentioning, just continuing to learn, even for myself. As I was mentioning to the team before, Adam and Pups in the Park, that helped probably get us something going on our side too. So just keeping an ear to the ground, having fun with it, I think is a huge thing, especially on the flash or single game element. How can this new opportunity be a fun way to get in front of fans? So whether that is an offer, or whether that is like an ingenious 24-hour flash that we have for $24 for a number for 24 player. Something like that. We can always look into some really fast offers to have fun and add an additional layer to our single game kind of audience and a new segment that we can build out. So always just keeping things available for that.
Awesome. Yeah, Matt, you bring up a really good point, right? It's not always about reinventing the wheel. Obviously, we have so many great partners, and being able to connect you with those partners on best practices is what FEVO is here for. So, of course, looking at key takeaways, I think you heard from all three of our panelists today in regards to the strategic partnerships and those relationships that they cultivated. Additionally, the organizational buy-in, that's always key from a collaboration standpoint and execution. And look, at the end of the day, our goal is to bring new buyers, get your clubs more data. And I think this just shows that some of those outside of the box offers and initiatives are going to allow you to expand your audience. So I know we're right here at the top, but want to say a huge shout out and thank you to the three of you gentlemen for joining us today. Fantastic examples, and you have always been great partners at FEVO, so thank you for taking some time. Happy to address any questions in the Q&A. It looks like we have one in regards to suite sales, so I will gladly cover that. Additionally, if you have questions or feedback, you can submit those to marketing@fevo.com or reach out to bd@fevo.com for any of your business questions. Regarding single game suites on FEVO, if you are with Ticketmaster, I'm not sure exactly who your success team member is, but we can actually set those up, whether it's a full season or a flash sale, to Adam's point earlier. So I'll make a note of this and reach out directly in regards to that question also. Great. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.